This is the Lamborghini Urus SE Performante, otherwise known as the fastest Urus ever. It develops over 800 brake horsepower and can hit almost 200 miles an hour. And while another Italian SUV might be getting all the headlines in 2026, I think that this thing is definitely worth a second look. In this video, we're going to go through the car's styling, performance, interior, brand new driver rating tech, and tell you how much it's going to cost. But first, a word on its name.
You might not have noticed, but Lamborghini has quietly transformed its entire range into plug-in hybrids. Thankfully, not little four-cylinder ones like AMG. Instead, we've got big engines with a small electric motor to improve performance and maybe a bit of fuel efficiency. In fact, we've had the plug-in Urus, hence the SE part of the name, since 2024, but this is the first time that Lambo's electrified SUV can be had in flagship Performante spec, and it ain't shy about it.
So two things you might notice straight away when you see the front of this car. The first is the colour, Giallo Crius, I believe is how you pronounce it. It stands out a lot and it is going to be one of the launch colours for this car. I think it looks fantastic. If you're going to get an Urus, why not make it stand out? Let us know what you think in the comments. But also the front end in general is noticeably different from the standard SE version. It's a lot more aggressive. And part of that is the bonnet. So we've got a standard carbon fibre bonnet. It's optional to have the unpainted carbon on the sides there, either side of what Lamborghini is calling the power dome. But otherwise you will get a standard carbon fibre bonnet regardless. And you can see as well the S-ducts in here to aid with the cooling and the aerodynamics, very fetching. And again, more carbon fibre on the front splitter. Incidentally, this Urus has more carbon fibre on it than any other SUV on sale. And I asked Lamborghini, how do you quantify that? Is it by parts or is it by the square meterage? And they said, it doesn't matter. It's got more carbon, full stop. And as we go around this car, that won't be surprising. I'm also a fan, actually, of the way that they've integrated the radar and the night vision and the ADAS systems, because sometimes car makers put it to the side. This is nice and symmetrical, bang in the middle. Come around here, something that you absolutely cannot miss are the 23-inch alloy wheels. They are absolutely ginormous. They might not look it in comparison with the rest of the car because the design is proportioned as such that they look like they fit. But honestly, when you're standing here, they are huge, as are the brakes. They're 10-piston calipers, and I believe that they're the biggest brakes ever fitted to a production car. That's what Lamborghini told me anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. Carbon fibre, again, around the wheel arches, that's super noticeable. This actually isn't functional. More carbon fibre with the Italian flag there, very nice. Carbon fibre side skirts, carbon fibre on the door mirror caps, optional carbon fibre roof. You can have that as a solid roof or panoramic roof, but this one's got the carbon. And as we come down the side, you might notice that actually there's a slightly wider stance to the car. That's because the track has been expanded by 16 millimeters to make it sit nicer on the road, and that'll also improve the handling in theory. And then come down here, we can see the louvres here. They are on the SE, but these are a lot more aggressive. There's a bigger gap going through to the wheel. And also this cutaway bit here, that's supposed to be inspired by the racing car, and it means that you can see more of the tyre from behind. I quite like that. Finally, at the rear of the car, a couple of things to point out. Double spoiler, so the initial spoiler up here with the carbon end plates, and that also then feeds air down to this lower spoiler, which again is made of carbon fibre. And then below that, we've got this really interesting bit of design. I think it's inspired by the Countach with the hexagonal shapes, where it juts out and actually sits quite proud of the rest of the car. That's really aggressive looking. And again, like the front, it's noticeably different to the standard SE version. Finally, the carbon fibre diffuser, the design has been overhauled. It's a lot larger, more aggressive, and within it, there's the Akrapovic exhausts, 5 kilograms lighter, made of titanium. And when you switch the car on, you've got the option to have an extra loud mode. So forget having a quiet mode when the car switches on with the plug-in hybrid system. This is there to tell everyone that you are leaving for work in your Urus SE Performante, and you want everyone to know about it. And we've actually got a sound clip of what it sounds like when you turn it on. Have a listen to this.
peek inside the cabin, and Lamborghini has attempted to inject some Revuelto detailing into its SUV. That means plenty of Corsa-Tex microfiber, Y-shaped anodized aluminium details, and a revised steering wheel.
Now, Lamborghini has said that they wanted to make this cabin feel more aggressive, darker, sportier, all of those things. And that's why I probably look a little bit like Casper the Ghost, because together with the completely solid carbon fiber roof, we're having to try quite hard to light me, which is, yeah, going to look a little bit strange potentially. But when you're out in the sunlight, I reckon the cabin will do its job. It's got lots of the lovely Race-Tex microfiber material. There's carbon fiber everywhere. We've got the red stitching, big eccentric paddle shift gear levers. That's awesome. Seat's actually very comfortable despite how aggressive it looks. And also, still a really big fan of the fact that they've got these physical controls for the drive modes and the hybrid system in here. They haven't jettisoned that for just touchscreen controls like a lot of cars have now. So that's a really nice touch. Speaking of the drive modes, there's a brand new one. It's called Rally, and yeah, you've guessed it, it's designed if you want to take your SE Performante on a rally stage. So it keeps the engine and the powertrain in maximum attack, but it softens off the suspension and raises the ride height just a little bit to make sure that, yeah, you can enjoy your favorite rally stage. Not sure how many people are going to use that versus they're going to use it on a customer demonstration day, because I wouldn't want to respray this car, but yeah, it's there if you want to use it. There it is, rally mode. Another switch which has caught my attention, and it's quite amusing, is the one down here. It's labelled Ego, and if you're an Italian speaker, that probably makes sense. If you're an English speaker, Ego means something completely different. It obviously comes from the Latin ego, I, and it's to do with the personalised drive modes. It's not there as a button to boost your ego. I think the whole car is designed to do that instead.
Everything inside and outside is very bold and aggressive, but then those buying an Urus SE Performante aren't doing it to blend in. Lamborghini really knows its target audience here, you feel.
However, all of that aggressive styling, especially the carbon fibre, isn't just there for looks. It does actually have a functional purpose, especially in the aero department. So we've obviously got a lot of aero going on at the back here, but overall there's a 3% reduction in drag versus the regular SE and a 23% increase in overall downforce. And in fact, versus the previous non-SE, non-plug-in hybrid Performante, downforce is up by 16%, which is a chunky increase from one iteration to the next. So it's not all there for show. There is genuine purpose behind a lot of this extensive use of carbon.
More downforce usually means more power along with it, and there's no exception here. The Urus SE Performante gets the same 4-litre twin-turbo V8 with a permanent magnet electric motor between the engine and gearbox as the regular SE. But total system output is now 801 brake horsepower, which is over 80 brake horsepower more than the Aston Martin DBXS and Ferrari Purosangue. Torque is 1,000 Newton meters or 737 pounds-foot. Those are obviously huge numbers and work out at 144 brake horsepower and 111 pound-foot more than the previous Urus Performante. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes just 3.3 seconds. 0 to 124 is done in 10.8 seconds. And also, because of the electric motor, all of that torque is available from just 2,000 RPM. You've also got access to almost 40 miles of all-electric claimed range, thanks to a 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery.
I know what you're thinking though, how much does all of that weigh? Well, through the use of the carbon fibre, less sound deadening and the slightly lighter exhaust system, Lamborghini's managed to save 32 kilograms versus the regular SE version. But the curb weight still comes in at 2,473 kilograms, which is a lot, even for an SUV. And it's a lot more than the Purosangue and the DBXS. And that means that the power to weight between the three cars is actually very, very similar.
So, how to get over that chunky curb weight? Well, three things in particular stand out. Lamborghini has given the SE Performante new Aero dual-chamber air suspension, the wider track, which we spoke about earlier, and the 6D sensor that we first saw in the one-off Fenomeno Special Edition.
I'm going to start with the air suspension because it's reduced the roll gradients from the previous Performante by a chunky 55%. Now Lamborghini calls it 2K2V, so 2 chambers, 2 valves. And essentially what's going on is that on each corner of the car, you've got those 2 chambers in the air suspension. The upper chamber is always active and it's been primarily focused on performance driving, keeping the car flat and agile and dynamic. There's also a secondary lower chamber which comes into play for more comfort. So for example, when you're in your Corsa mode and you're on track, you've only got that upper chamber working and it keeps the air compressed, keeps the car flat, level and focused on agility. But if you put the car into Strada, road mode, the valve between the 2 chambers opens and the amount of space for the air to go into obviously increases a lot, and that means that the car is better at dealing with bumps and undulations and ruts in the road, and it makes it more comfortable. It's a clever design.
Lamborghini is well aware that the Urus SE Performante is rarely going to get used on track, but should you venture onto the circuit or even your favourite fast road, the 6D sensor and integrated vehicle control should be a bit of a game changer. By taking data from 8 sensors measuring 6 different physical parameters, the car can analyse and also precisely estimate the vehicle's positioning and state for greater responsiveness.
What it also does is link in with the integrated power brake control unit, and it removes the need for those typical on-off ABS interventions, and instead you've got a smoother continuous modulation of the braking on all 4 corners of the car. Now that increases brake feel, it also makes it more agile, a lot easier to use and to feel what's going on underneath the pedal, and it also shortens the braking distances, despite the fact that I mentioned the big brakes earlier, but they are the same size calipers, so the 10-piston calipers and the same size discs as the ones on the regular SE. It's largely software-led, but it does make a difference, in theory at least.
Last but not least, Lamborghini is clearly very proud of the work it's done to the sound. We've seen the exhaust, we've heard it on startup, but also bear in mind the details that are further forward in the car. By keeping the exhaust lines separate, there's reduced turbulence and supposedly improved sound purity. Sounds good in the studio, should be even better under load.
The Lamborghini Urus SE Performante is no doubt an impressive technical exercise, but more than that, I think it's proof that Lamborghini knows its modern customers very, very well. Because some casual observers will say that it's too much, it's a bit too aggressive, maybe even a little bit pointless, but others will find it absolutely perfect. And that's in spite of a price tag that is going to be probably about €290,000, £250,000. That's the best estimate that we've got at the moment. But either way, I reckon this thing is going to sell. It's going to strike right at the heart of the core Urus market. So regardless of what you think of it, be prepared to see a lot of them on the roads very, very soon. But yeah, do tell me what you think of it in the comments section below.